Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today is Friday, September 22nd, 2023. I realize our stock price got clobbered today. So did the stock prices of really practically every other company in the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem. That's very small consolation for those of us who own shares of Stronghold Digital Mining, who look at where the stock closed today, and understandably, some of us will say, gosh, what's going on? Are we once again at the brink of the abyss? So, a couple of words of encouragement, okay, based on facts and data and reality. So, I double checked our Q2 2023 10Q, and if I'm not mistaken, renewable energy credits are at around $29. Now, I'm going to let some of the more mathematically inclined amongst us crunch that type of number into a formula, so to speak, but in layman's terms, it means that these renewable energy credits are sky high. Our variable cost to produce electricity is estimated to be around $30 a megawatt. So it's not going to show up till Q4 2023 because that's typically when not only the renewable energy credits but also the waste coal tax credits. A lot of this stuff kind of gets flushed into our accounting at the end of the year just based on the way these systems work. I'm incredibly optimistic that it makes sense for us to continue to run the power plants, right? Our waste coal reclamation facilities, Scrubgrass in Western Pennsylvania, Panther Creek in Eastern Pennsylvania, because the opportunity is quite interesting right now as it relates to, hey, what price are we actually generating electricity for when you take into consideration, these RECs. And right now, as of like right this moment, hash prices are at like 6.6 cents. In other words, Bitcoin priced in dollars per megawatt hour. That's a number that I know you and I have kind of like used more often. It's around $84.79 right now. Compare that to grid prices, which in PJM Penelec are $22.11, and here in the PP&L zone of the PJM grid, they're $4.77. So right now, as this broadcast is being created, I'm very optimistic that both, Panther Creek and Scrubgrass are running, at whatever capacity they need to run at to make sure that our data centers are getting all the electricity they need to be mining Bitcoin at the moment. Another point that I'd like to make is that I'm incredibly bullish on what might come of this issue, as I've said before, of taking a portion of our beneficial use ash, the stuff that's not going to go back to the sites to help heal the land, but the stuff in excess of that. Yes, it's true. We have an arrangement with a national company, comes in, takes it away. We're saving like $10 a ton in terms of like hauling costs, more or less, and we're getting paid maybe a couple bucks on top of that. That's awesome. I'm wondering though if that beneficial use ash can be combined, as I said before, with our the carbon that we emit, the CO2 that we emit from these waste coal reclamation facilities, which, remember, the company Stronghold Digital Mining firmly believes, and I agree with this CO2 is going to end up in the atmosphere anyway. Okay, these piles are not, people think, oh man, but, wouldn't it be better to just leave them in place? Not really. I mean, actually, not at all. This stuff literally smolders, it combusts, and then all the toxins go into the air. It's really a nightmare. Not even to mention the damage to like water, okay, that comes from when it rains, which, by the way, this weekend, evidently Pennsylvania is going to get a lot of rain. So, there's that to contend with. I really think that there could be something quite remarkable about being able to capture carbon, combine it with beneficial use ash, make a supplemental cementitious material, potentially then, okay, so that's like one line of revenue, right, in terms of like, hey, we're able to like use this ash and get paid for it because it's being used as part of an SEM, but hey, we can also then tap into that Inflation Reduction Act, that credit, right? That tax credit that has really increased tremendously in value to capture carbon. I don't think the market recognizes that, like when the Bitcoin halving occurs, the amount of CO2 that Stronghold Digital Mining is emitting is not going to be cut in half. And it's a substantial amount of CO2. Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of metric tons of this stuff. The opportunity to do well by the environment is there, and the opportunity to do well financially by us is definitely there. I'm really optimistic and hopeful that we can put something together. I keep going back to carbon upcycling only because I see what they're doing. They're a privately held company. They're out of Alberta, Canada. And I like what they do. And I see them as being an interesting potential partner to us. That's not a prediction. I'm just picking on them a little bit because, and I'm sure there's a dozen other companies that do something similar, but that type of combination of, hey, we can, use the CO2 that you're emitting on site with your byproduct, which is, beneficial use ash, to create this supplemental cementitious material. And then and you think about the revenue that could come in from the tax credit from the CO2, the additional revenue, right, from the beneficial use ash. I don't know. There's something there that I don't think is being reflected in our stock price. We might be having a conversation one day where it's like, hey, we cover all our costs just largely based on what we're doing in terms of CO2 capture and the beneficial use ash. Think about how surreal that would be. Like most of our operating costs are covered by that. All this Bitcoin stuff is just nothing but upside. That's remarkable. And the only reason we're in a position to have this opportunity is because we are truly vertically integrated. We own these power assets, right? We're not a so-called, asset light model. We're like a vertical stack. So I'm not particularly perturbed by the stock price, but I recognize, as I've said on previous broadcasts, hey, it's going to be turbulent. It could be a little bit upsetting. Let's stay positive. Let's be great, and we'll see each other again next week. See ya.